And welcome back. Well, Aly Raisman is one of the most accomplished American gymnasts of all time. She made headlines earlier this year as one of over 150 voices in the army of survivors during the Larry Nassar trial. Aly will be coming to Wisconsin on Denim Day, which is April 25th, to raise awareness about sexual assault.
She will be a part of the Women's Center annual luncheon, and here to tell us all about the event and the mission of it is the executive director, Angela Mancuso. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
It's always incredible. Last year, your guest was Elizabeth Smart, right? It's always, I think, incredible when people who have become very well known speak out on this topic in particular, because it's so private and so personally devastating.
Right. I mean, it takes a lot of courage and you know, that inner strength to come forward. And Aly is a great messenger. Our theme for Sexual Assault Awareness Month this year is "Your Voice Has Power." So she's the epitome of that. You know, she's not only giving voice to survivors everywhere, she's working to ensure that everyone who was involved with Larry Nassar's criminal behavior will be held accountable for being complacent when reports were made. Yeah. So she's trying to, she's chipping away at rape culture and working to prevent further abuse, and that aligns with the work that we do at the Women's Center.
Yeah, great. It's amazing. Tickets are going fast.
Yes.
We'll give the information for how you can get yours. There's just a little over 100 left of the tickets, so you're going to want to jump on if you're interested. For Aly, in general, what kind of culture shift have you seen? I think we're living in such a unique time as women, and in this culture, this shift of how women are viewed and respected when coming forward. What do you see in terms of your work?
You know, I think there's been some, it's been subtle to us on the advocacy side. The language alone, Army of Survivors. So Aly was one of 150 to testify against Larry Nassar. So it's the Army of Survivors, not the Army of Victims or the Army of Accusers. So that demonstrates some shift in the language. But I mean, we still have a lot of work to do. Sexual violence is in the news daily, right? But I think now people are acknowledging the severity and the prevalence of it. The needle's moving a little bit. There's more work to do.
And I agree with you. Survivor has a much different connotation than the other words you use, because there's a certain amount of empowerment to it. It's having lived through and survived something is much different than being a victim of something.
Right.
But you know, when you said that a second ago about 150 people who came forward and spoke out against Larry Nassar, and there are probably more who weren't part of that, who were also victims. How is it that a guy like that in a field with that much notoriety is able to victimize so many people?
Right. Well, it has to do with people being complicit and, like I said, complacent and ignoring the facts and the reality. So, you know, one of the reasons why sexual assault is so underreported is because people feel that they won't be believed, and that's, you know, half of the battle really of coming forward. So, you know, part of really shifting rape culture is believing survivors, supporting them, and making sure that there are all the resources and necessities in place that they can, you know, move into that healing space.
Well, and I think getting over the initial thought that it was your fault.
Right.
You know, and making sure people know it's never your fault. There's no such thing as your fault when someone violates you. So I think that's an important conversation. What can we, as people who are going to be a part of Denim Day on Wednesday and all those types of things, help to move this forward? Besides just listening or being willing, what else can we do as people who want to change the world?
Well, you know, we have to keep talking about it. You have to call out language and behaviors that are counter to, you know, empowerment. We need to stop with the victim shaming and blaming, and really acknowledging it, and getting involved with agencies and like the Women's Center that are doing this hard work. The numbers are staggering, right? 1 in 5 women, 1 in 67 men will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. And so that's a whole lot of people who will need supportive services and resources.
Yeah, and do you see with all of this stuff that we're talking about, this movement, and all of the people who've come forward to say that they were violated in some way? I mean, even with, you know, Matt Lauer, so in the news and in the entertainment world and the gymnastics world and all of those things. Do you see the tide shifting? I mean, do you have hope that those numbers that you just gave, that the tide will turn and we'll see it to be less and less?
You know, I do, because I've been doing this work for a long time, and this is probably the first time. You know, this groundswell that we're experiencing right now is really the first time that I have seen this needle moving a little bit. But I think, I mean, we need to have systemic change. We need to have, I mean, everybody needs to pay attention to this. Sexual violence is not going to just go away on its own and resolve itself. It's going to take really everybody talking about it, calling it what it is, and getting involved. So I think there's this is an important moment in history for us in the sexual advocacy movement. It just can't go away, and we have to, the best thing to do is keep it in the forefront.
I love that message.
Yeah.
And as Tiff mentioned a little while ago, there are just over 100 tickets. It's at Potawatomi. You've got a big crowd expected. There are now just a little over 100 tickets left to this great event that you have planned. It's a conversation with Aly Raisman. It's the Women's Center Anniversary Luncheon happening at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. It's Wednesday, April 25th, which is Denim Day, going on from 10:30 until 1:30 p.m. You can find out more about tickets and this great event by going to this website. It's twcwaukesha.org.
Yeah.
Always great to see you.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks for being
Thanks for
here.
having me.